Welcome back, Reading Rebels. I am Brianna, and welcome to my channel. If you're new, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. Today, I wanted to talk about books that you can use to ease your way into the romance genre, if that is something that you haven't done and are wanting to. We are going to talk about books that range from no spice to moderate spice. Let's do it. Like I said, we are going to start with no spice to moderate spice. I have, I think, 9 books here, but a group of them is an interconnected standalone series that I'll talk about all at once. But let's start with no spice. One author that I have found that does this well and not in a cringy way is Sarah Adams. You may know her from her popular When in Rome series that she has been releasing. The final book in this series comes out in January 2026, but she has quite the backlist. Yesterday, I actually read The Match all in one day. It was very cute. So let's start with this one. This is one of her older ones. This is about Evie Jones and Jacob Broden. And Evie it very much took a page from Gilmore Girls, where Lorelai and Luke, so to speak, where Evie is from a rich family but wanted to make it on her own, and when she was able to become independent because she has epilepsy, but once she got her service dog, she was able to live on her own. And she trains service dogs. Well, Jacob is a single father whose daughter has just recently been diagnosed with epilepsy in the last year. Well, they meet because his daughter was emailing her as him. And a relationship blooms from there as he, of course, caves and is like, okay, let's get you a service dog. But the banter in here is really cute. She does banter, I feel, very well. That's a theme you will see with all of these, is that banter is key on all of these. The next is When in Rome. This one was my first by her, and again, so funny. I love this. This is about Amelia Rose, who goes by Ray Rose because she's a pop star, and Noah Walker. So Amelia is feeling overworked and overrun and just loves Audrey Hepburn, and she's watching, I think it's When in Rome, the name of the book. And she's like, I'm going to run away, just like she did in that movie, and finds the closest Rome to her, which is Rome, Kentucky. And she just goes. And she breaks down because she takes her oldest, crummiest car that she had since before she was a pop star, and breaks down in front of Noah's house. And then ends up, just through happenstance, staying with Noah. There's a whole thing behind that I won't spoil. But she stays with Noah, and Noah owns a pie shop, and he's a baker. And she falls in love with the small town, and it's not quite enemies to lovers, it's more like irritation to lovers in this book. And the awesome thing about this is that he also has 3 sisters who each get their own book that I need to get into. So we have those 2, and then we have 2 by Claire Kahn. So we have The Romantic Agenda and Looking for Love in All the Haunted Places. These are no spice books, as Claire Kahn is an asexual author who writes ace books. So both of the female main characters in these books are ace. First, we have The Romantic Agenda, which is about Joy and Malcolm, and they have been best friends since college and work together. And of course, Joy has loved Malcolm since then. He is also ace, but has she told him? Of course not. And so they go away for the weekend so Malcolm can ask his love interest, who's not Joy, to be his girlfriend officially. And that love interest brings along Fox, her best friend, as someone to set up Joy with, and fake dating for the weekend ensues. But there's this whole my best friend's wedding type of plot that Joy has in her mind about getting Malcolm finally, and it was really cute. I really did like this book. But I loved Looking for Love in All the Haunted Places. This is about Lucky Heart, who has psychic abilities and is wanting to break into the paranormal world. With that, she is able to connect with Maverick Phillips, who's like a bigwig in the paranormal world, to investigate this house. And through that, they've developed this connection. He's also a single father. So, and again, romance ensues, but a lot of paranormal stuff also happens. It was a really, really fun book. So in terms of no spice books, this is a great place to start. We have Claire Kahn, who writes characters on the asexual spectrum. So that's a really good bet that there's going to be no spice. And then we've got Sarah Adams, who writes Closed Door, where there is that romance and that implied love, but obviously nothing on page. Then we move into the spice, but more moderate spice. And we have a few of my favorite authors. So first up, we have Savor It by Tara DeWitt. One of my favorites of the year, 6 stars. I adore this book. And the sequel, Left of Forever, just came out, which is also wonderful. People keep talking about it and just raving about it. It is wonderful. But this is my favorite. And this is about Sage Bird and Fisher Lang. So Sage lives in a town, Spoons, Oregon. And she's a teacher and contributes to the town, does all of these things, is well loved in the town. And Fisher is a Michelin-rated chef who is burnt out, disgraced, been fired, and has come into custody of his niece because his sister passed away. And his boss is trying to get him a second chance, and so is like, go out to Oregon and help me open up my new restaurant out there. And he's like, fine, okay. So they go for the summer, and they're renting a place next to Sage, which is how they meet. And how they meet is really funny. And along the way, fake dating ensues. I love a good fake dating plot. But this book has such good banter. Banter, banter, banter. There are so many tabs in here. Like, I've got tabs all over the place in here. I want to do this edges on this, so I've got them tucked in. But I laughed so much in this book. Highly, highly, highly recommend. And so if you're looking for something that is funny, but also touching, Sage and her brothers, because they're orphans and the older brother had to raise them, and Fisher with his niece and that connection that they have to build. There's that hurt and that grief that they have to work through. And basically the whole town is just chaotic. This book is for you. This is a wonderful one. Tara DeWitt is just a beautiful writer. Then we have Hannah Bonham Young, Out on a Limb. Again, banter. Oh my gosh, I just laughed so much with this book. Now, if you are new to romance, FYI, within the first couple chapters, these two are hooking up because this is a book about an accidental pregnancy after a one-night stand. But this book is so sweet and so cute because this is about Winifred and Beau. And he's lost his leg and she has a tiny hand. And so they connect over that at her best friend's Halloween party. And they're both dressed as pirates. And he has his leg, it's like he put something on it to make it look like a peg leg. And she has her tiny hand in a hook. And they just make so many jokes about it back and forth. It was It was punny. It was hilarious. But then the banter throughout the whole book, so fun. And of course she finds out she's pregnant and tells him, and he's like, I'm in. And it goes from there. It's so sweet. She's a wonderful author. I cannot wait to read more from her. I've got Next of Kin on my shelf that I'm really eager to get into as well. So, which leads me to the ultimate, the best, the GOAT, at least for me, Abby Jimenez. And this is my GOAT series so far from Abby. And that is the Part of Your World series. So actually, it's this order. We've got Part of Your World, Yours Truly, and Just for the Summer. Let's start with Part of Your World. This is an age gap romance between Alexis Montgomery and Daniel Grant. And she's coming home, I think it was from a funeral, and she breaks down on the side of the road, and oh no, she crashes into a ditch. Yep, she crashes into a ditch, and he saves her. Build this connection. She's a big city doctor, and he lives in this small town of Wakan. It's like there's a couple hours in between them. And so they have to figure this out between them. And he runs a small well, not a small B&B, a B&B, and is also like this really beautiful woodworker / carpenter. And they have to navigate that relationship between them. And of course, there's the small town characters. That is a theme that I also love. So, and they have to overcome like the challenges of her family and those dynamics. So this is where it starts. Then you've got Yours Truly. Now, this one I love for a few reasons. One of the characters' names is Dr. Brianna Ortiz. Brianna is spelled correctly with one N. Oh, but she is an ER doctor and has been working her butt so hard to get like this lead position. And in comes Dr. Jacob Maddox, who turns out to also be up for the same position. And of course, that doesn't go over well. But he's this sweet, anxious guy who didn't realize, and he writes her a letter to apologize. And they're such busy doctors, they end up writing letters back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And there's this other plot going on. There's a few things going on, but Brianna's brother needs a kidney. He's in kidney failure and is on dialysis, and so of course she's taking care of him at home. And there's a whole thing with that, and it's beautiful. I really connected to this because my mother was also on dialysis and in kidney failure and a whole bunch of things. Like, Abby writes real life things, and that is what I absolutely love about her books. I don't know how she does it, but it is amazing. Now, you want to read both of these. You could read either of those in any order, but both of those need to come before Just for the Summer, because there's so much in this book that ties to these other two. Even though they are interconnected standalones, the rules do not apply to this. The Summer is about Justin and Emma. And Justin writes a Reddit post about how he goes on a date or two. I think it's like 3 dates max. And then they break up, and then that woman goes off and finds her true love. If you remember that movie from forever and ever ago called Good Luck Chuck, he's Good Luck Chuck. But the thing is, Emma sees this as well, and she has the same problem. And so they decide, because Emma's a travel nurse, that they are going to date just for the summer. And so she moves her happy little butt to where he is, which is, and works at the hospital where she is, and they date just for the summer. Now, their lives are so complicated. She's a travel nurse for a reason, and her mom, woo, is a piece of work. And his mom, woo, is a piece of work. And there are family things going on, and just, oh. And of course, it gets complicated. It gets complicated, but this book, oh my gosh. This was definitely, I love this one, but I'm torn between which of these two is my favorite of the series. But this whole series as a whole, 6 stars. 6 stars. If you were looking to get into a romance, you cannot go wrong with Abby. I adore her books, and especially these. If you are looking to get into romance and spice doesn't scare you in the slightest, start here. Start here. Woo! Wow. If you... Sorry, baby. I just knocked it on the cat. Man down. Cat taken out. Okay. If you are ready to start your romance journey, may I suggest one of these wonderful authors. None of these books will steer you wrong. At least in my humble opinion. They are all wonderful and lovely, and I love them all. And I hope you read them and enjoy them as well. And if you've enjoyed this video, smash that like button. It does my small channel big things, lets YouTube know that you enjoyed it and other people might too. And if you enjoy these kind of videos and want to stick around, hit that subscribe button. Stick around. I'd love to have you. We're just a small crew. I'm having fun doing these. And on that note, I'm going to go read a romance book. Bye, guys.